Hello, sumo fans! We are doing something new and fresh. We are going to start right now with a mid-tournament discussion.
This is a first for us. We usually do a show the day the Banzuke comes out, so a sumo preview where we discuss what we think is going to happen and how everybody did in training. And then we did a recap show the day after the tournament ends. But we have noticed that we've picked up a lot of new subscribers, and we really want to thank you all for that. And we decided, since you're hanging out with us and having a good time, let's do a mid-tournament discussion about the state of things.
Yeah.
Welcome.
We'll be doing basically what Maria and I do all the time, which is speculate about who's winning and who's doing well or not. And there's definitely, in this tournament, a lot going on, particularly in this final week. Of note, we are recording this on the evening of day 9. So we're going to try to get this out as soon as we can, but basically it's going to be outdated as soon as day 10 starts. But a lot of what we're going to be talking about is sort of the energy in the room.
Yes, and hopefully things don't take some sort of crazy turn in the middle of the night so that the entire show isn't outdated.
Or maybe it will and we'll look stupid.
That's all right.
And it's recorded online for everyone to see.
Wonderful. This will be a great welcome to our subscribers, seeing how we really are.
Yep. No, there's no script here. No. So we'll start sort of setting the table. Again, normally we just go up and down the Banzuke. Here we're going to sort of talk about the state of affairs and then talk about the front runners. So right now there are 9 Rikishi in contention. It's Takayasu, Terunofuji, Chiyonokuni, Hokutofuji, Takakeisho, Asanoyama, Takanosho, Tobizaru, and Terutsuyoshi in no particular order. And that is really exciting because there's sort of an even split of Sanyaku in the rank and file. And what I found the most interesting is that a lot of these people are going to be facing each other in this final week.
And this was something that was a setup for many, many tournaments. There was all these guys clogging up the Sanyaku. There was all these rising stars. And there was going to be some point where it was going to come together. And it looks like it is this tournament. This is going to be a separation of who are the top guys and who needs a lot of work. And the margins are pretty slim. So this is off the charts exciting.
It's very, very exciting. Also of note is that there's going to be 3 people who could potentially play foil. And by that I mean sort of throw everything off kilter by taking a win off of the top contenders. So Takayasu is going to have to deal with Wakatakakage, who has been really on fire, and also Miyogiryu, who was the first 5 or 6 days front runner. So there's a lot of momentum going up against him there. For Terunofuji, there's Shimanomi, who I believe is either already has his Makakoshi or is very close to getting it.
I think he's very close. One more, I think.
He's either 2-7 or 1-8. I think Takafuji's 1-8.
Takafuji's 1-8. So I think Shimanoumi needs one more.
One more. So so he's a little out of his depth, but I think that there's that little chance that he just says no more.
And he just is like, I'm done.
I'm done. And he just starts plowing through everybody in front of him. So these are the foils. So any one of them can get a win off of everybody we're talking about and then just throw everything into a spit. But we'll start off with the front runner, Takayasu, who has 8 wins. And he's alone at the top as of day 9. And never really thought this would be the position, but it is his tournament to lose as of right now. And the big thing, though, is that he needs to put dirt on Takakeisho, Shodai, and then again, Wakatakakage. And so the thing is that all 3 of those have a sort of an X factor on them. And so, like, if Takakeisho, who will be fighting each other, like, in a few hours.
Yeah.
If Takakeisho says, I want those 8 wins more than you want this cup, he loses. Like, if Shodai decides that he's just tired of getting pushed around by everybody.
An angry Shodai comes out.
I love angry Shodai.
Wow, have we seen a lot of Angry Shodai.
Oh, Angry Shodai. Not in this tournament race, though, but we'll see what happens in May.
And we'll go more into detail in the recap show about Angry Shodai.
And then, again, Wakataka Kage is shown to be the guy who can beat everybody if you let him. So, I don't know if he's fought Wakataka Kage before.
I don't know.
Not a lot if he has.
He might have seen him once, but it'd be only once. You're leaving out your guy, Hokutofuji. I mean, is that on purpose?
Maybe a little bit. But yes, Hokutofuji is also in there. Hokutofuji, we'll talk about him in a little bit.
Okay.
But the thing is that Hokutofuji has also been on a run.
True. We have to talk about him in his proper place.
In his proper place. Also, I'm getting superstitious about Hokutofuji right now. I am
understood.
It's just like I'm hanging garlic in the windows. I am like pagan rituals. I'm like, I don't want to jinx this. I've got to
just don't even speak his
name.
Well, here's the interesting thing about Takayasu. He's the only guy out of all the major front runners to never win a tournament. We're talking about the Ozekis in the Sanyaku. Even Takayumi, who we say a lot of things about, has won 2 tournaments. Mm-hmm. And Takayasu was an Ozeki for a long time. He didn't win a championship before he got Ozeki. He never won one as an Ozeki. He loses the Ozeki rank. And all this time, it was questionable if he would ever make it back to Ozeki. Now he's looking like he could. But that tournament win is so crucial to defining who he is as a Rikishi.
Yes.
I know he wants to prove he deserved to be Ozeki when he was, that he, especially in light of the shadow of Hakuho, he was Ozeki fighting Hakuho. Mm-hmm. None of these other guys had to fight Hakuho as much as Takayasu. And I think this is the moment to take the tournament. He knows it. There's no way it isn't in his mind. I know a lot of times these guys will say, well, I'm not really thinking about it. This is an exception. Takayasu has been thinking about this forever. And he knows he's got to tread lightly because he does have history with... He at least has history with Takakeisho. So that's... By the time you hear this, that match is over and that can make a huge difference.
Huge difference.
The history is back and forth. Takakeisho's taken a crucial one off of him. He's taken a crucial one off of Takakeisho. So today's match, if you're listening, is absolutely crucial. Takanosho is a young guy. He's out to prove something and help his buddy Takakeisho out. Takayasu knows that the people who are left, he's got to be careful with. I'm sure he's not going to take any win for granted, but he looks good.
Looks good.
He's had so many injuries, the arm, the back injury that just wouldn't go away, and I think that's what's really impacted his ability to win tournaments. He looks better than he's ever looked. Now is the time. It's not tomorrow. And, Takakeisho's my favorite, but I am rooting for Takayasu to pull this off.
It feels right this time. Mm-hmm. For Takayasu. And again, it is his to lose. If he maintains pace,
got it.
Welcome to the cup. So after 8 wins is 7 wins. There's 2 people with 7 wins right now. It's Terunofuji and Chiyonokuni. So Terunofuji, we were coming into this tournament saying he needs 10 wins to win. And I think that's still a big landmark for Terunofuji. Would he want to take the cup as well? Definitely yes. I think that in his mind, he's got to be more focused on getting the Ozeki rank. And he looks to be a little bit more prone to losing some of the matches. So he's going to be fighting Shimanomi, which is going to be tonight or tomorrow or yesterday or whenever. He also needs to fight Takakeisho. That's a pretty stiff rivalry. He needs to fight Takanosho, who not only does he want to help out his buddy Takakeisho, but he's got running in this as well. And then he has to fight the 2 Ozeki, Shodai and Asanoyama. Now, Asanoyama is gonna put dirt on him, I'm guessing, but Shodai is this X factor.
Unless Asanoyama can take a page out of Shodai's book. I mean, I'm waiting for the moment. And I hope it's... I don't want him to interfere with Terunofuji's, Ozeki run. However, I want to see Asanoyama flip out and throw people. He's strong enough. He should be able to do this. What better moment than to do it to Terunofuji, who has been making him eat dirt time after time after time. You never know. I don't think it's likely because Asanoyama hasn't given me a reason yet. But like Takayasu, this might be Asanoyama's time to say, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm going to make you look bad.
We'll see. So Terunofuji sort of, there's a lot of, it feels like he wins at 10 wins rather than he wins at what would be 12 or whatever it would take to get the yusho. I'd be surprised if it's more than 3 losses, but that's...
Certainly, it is the better strategy. Mm-hmm. I mean, this can follow the typical pattern of, I just got to get 1 win at a time, one win at a time. I think it would be best for him to focus on the 10 wins and not think about the tournament, or he might wind up with 9. And that would be disaster. Now you don't get the tournament and you don't get the Ozeki promotion. And he was very, very focused in the beginning of this tournament, and he's gone off a little bit. So he's got to get back on the track and just focus on the Ozeki, and just by extension of going for that, he still could take the tournament.
Yes. Yeah, and the Ozeki run does put the most amount of pressure on this list on Terunofuji, because it's those. So he's 3 wins away from it, but those are 3 wins you've got to claw and fight for. So in a way, Terunofuji is a little bit more stacked against him in terms of the mental game,
especially because of that loss to Takayasu today. I mean, that had to have taken a lot out of him to lose that. I mean, this is a tough tournament. Everybody wants to take that top spot. Everybody can smell Hakuho's blood in the water.
Yeah, basically.
It's like it's your time or bust.
Yeah. Everybody's looking to see who's coming up next. Terunofuji does seem to be the thing, and that's going to put even more on those knees of his.
Yes, it is. And whenever he's in a situation, he goes for that Kimidashi, and sky lifts you out, and I won't know, but, maybe that's something he doesn't want to do on his knees. Maybe it's fine.
Yeah. Well, he definitely makes it look easy.
He sure does.
I can't do that to a couch, let alone a 400-pound man.
Yeah, his strength is frightening.
It is Herculean. But Terunofuji would probably be the strongest runner-up. That being said, Chiyonokuni, who is also at 7 wins, is a big wild card, because he is fighting strong, he's fighting fearless, and with the rank and filer status, he's not going to have the killer's row list that most of the other people on our contenders roster have to contend with. And man, Chiyonokuni is fighting like a man possessed.
Chiyonokuni has the style of sumo that is of his own. He's like a wild animal. I feel like I'm watching a barroom brawl versus a sumo match, and I have to say I love it. I missed him so much. I'm glad it seems like his injuries are not affecting his sumo at this time, although now he's got a broken thumb.
Powering through it.
Powering through the pain. I mean, this guy is something else. What's going to happen, like you said, he's not going to go through Murderer's Row, but if he stays where he's at, now they've got to make choices, which throws everything off for everybody. He's got to fight some of the top guys. He's got to, if he's tied with someone, they're going to have to put him up against that person, which means that person may not fight somebody else tough that they normally would. So just his mere presence, if he stays where he's at, is going to throw a wrench in everything anyway.
Yeah. So what we know for fighting is that he has Okinomi tomorrow/tonight/yesterday, which never count Okinomi out. But Okinomi's having a bad time of it. So that may be another win for him. And then Chiyonokuni may be starting to punch up. So maybe they'll throw Ichinojo at him if he hasn't fought him. No, he already fought Ichinojo. But what will eventually happen is that, and this has been typically the case, which in the light of recent years of sumo, we've seen a lot of these Cinderella stories come about. Once you get to day 11, 12, if you're in the contenders bracket, they throw you to the wolves. Yep. So I see him going up against maybe Onosho, who's fighting really well but losing. Maybe he will go against somebody like Hokutofuji or
Right.
Wakatakakage. So they do have this, you think you're good, prove it, that will invariably hit Chiyonokuni. And so then the question for Chiyonokuni is, you know, that fearlessness got him this far. Can it get him that little extra further?
Exactly. I mean, he's relatively untested back in the upper division. He's only been back. This is his second tournament. So it comes down to your training, your endurance, and, you know, is your body going to stay together? I don't know what kind of shape he's actually in because no one talks about it. He's all bandaged up and he's got the previous injuries, but, you know, it's really up in the air because we don't know what he's got. We're going to find out.
Mm-hmm. This is going to be, well, in a way, Chiyonokuni's like already won. If Chiyonokuni gets 10 wins or more, I'm like, you're just spectacular. Like, then if he gets the cup, it's like, whoa!
And he wouldn't be like, you know, when Maegashira 16 wins, it's like a fluky thing. He earned every single one of those wins.
Of these wins.
So, if he doesn't, let's just say he falls apart at the end, he just gets 8 wins, they'll be looking at him next tournament for sure. So, either way, like you said, he's already won, but he looks like he's going for everything.
He is leaving nothing behind.
He's Ikioi if Ikioi wasn't falling apart.
Well, he is falling apart a little bit, so he's exactly like Ikioi.
Exactly. He just has a little more stamina right now.
A little bit. He's just younger.
Yeah, well, that's true.
So that's our 7 wins bracket. So now we're going to talk about the 6 wins. These are people who are 6-3 as of day 9. And so for this group, it's like they're mathematically in contention, but they will need to win out. And then they would need to rely on Chiyonokuni, Terunofuji, and Takayasu losing to get back in it. That being said, like we were mentioning with the others, it can be anybody's game. Mm-hmm. Particularly if some of that top cutting-edge fights leads to some upsets. So, because I wrote the list, and I have massive favoritism, we're going to start with Hokutofuji as the 2 wins back contender. And I am going to try to restrain myself, but this is probably one of his best chances at a yusho because he survived the Sanyaku and he's 6-3. So, that being said, he does need to fight Takayasu and he does need to fight Mitakeumi, and Mitakeumi will sometimes not suffer those who are looking to lap him.
Yeah, sometimes at the very end, you know, you think you've got this guy down because he fell apart again. And then he's like, no, guess what? I'm going to ruin your day.
Yeah.
So you can never count on beating him.
Yeah. So where Mitakeumi isn't going to be a foil for Takayasu or Terunofuji because he's fought them already, and probably not a foil for Chiyonokuni unless they're really mean, definitely the obstacle in Hokutofuji's path.
Yeah, the most likely one.
Most likely. So if Hokutofuji can win against Mitakeumi, then that's a sign that those doors are open.
Yeah, he's got an opportunity right now to prove that he's taken that extra step. He's always had the potential. There was, I don't know, maybe a couple years ago, they highlighted him on NHK World Japan as a possible front runner. And he never lived up to that standard. And you look at him and he's got the power, the energy, the drive, but his footwork was all over the place.
Yeah.
And there was a little something else, like maybe just so much energy, not knowing how to work the angles. He's figured something out this tournament, and either he's going to pull off the miracle and he's figured out enough to outlast everybody, or he's just gained a little bit more momentum and maybe the next time. But
he was always looking for that little bit, and he seems to have found it here. And so, like, if he gets the double-digit wins, then he's back in the Sanyaku. Maybe not. Maybe he won't get the yusho, but he looks like he's got that little bit. And every win after this is not just a chance at the cup to just upset everything, but to sort of prove to those doubters that he can do it.
Well, and never underestimate this. Fighting Hokutofuji has got to hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy comes in and it's always a brutal match. He always winds up bleeding. let's say he even just takes a little extra out of Takayasu and that impacts the Yusho race. I mean, I don't think anybody wants to fight Hokutofuji. Like, even if you think you can beat him, you know you're not getting out of it without getting knocked upside the head.
Yeah. This is what's so exciting about this Yusho race is that, like, even if it's somebody runs away with it, like, the people that lose, like, Hokutofuji can lose tomorrow, so then he's mathematically out of it. He still has a hand in this. He can still affect who wins or loses the race. So there's that kind of energy. And that does seem to have something that a lot of people will be like, well, this isn't going to be my Yusho race, but I can make sure it's not yours either.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of these guys seem to have. That's the attitude that I'm feeling. I'm going to make some impact, whether it's negative or positive.
So there's a lot of that build-up going on right now. So we'll see about Hokutofuji. So now that I put my guy up front, I was sure to put your guy right up the top.
I appreciate that.
Takakeisho. So on paper, in the running, again, 6 wins. And so if he wins out, he's 12-3. In practice, this week is probably going to be the toughest week for him.
Yeah, and what I would say is, so his upcoming fights are Terunofuji, I'm looking at the wrong line here. His upcoming fights are Asanoyama, Shodai, Terunofuji, and Takayasu. Takakeisho, I think he is doing the one bout at a time because he is Kadoban. He's got to get his 8 wins. Last tournament had to have been crushing for him because he tried to stay in the tournament and he kept losing. He almost got a Makikoshi through losses. So I think I would guess that he's not going for the tournament. I would guess that he is trying to do one bout at a time, and it is going to be his toughest week. He's looking a lot better. He's looking a lot more his old self. But that doesn't mean he's going to dominate. And he's got history with all these guys. Most specifically, though, Terunofuji and Takayasu, the 2 guys that really matter. Takakeisho, he beat Terunofuji in November to win the cup, but that was in the playoff. So he got himself destroyed in the match that led to the playoff. So he's got a both. He's had a devastating loss and he's had an amazing win. And Takayasu, the same situation when Takakeisho was going for Ozeki, Takayasu was in the way. And then Takayasu was going for a tournament and Takakeisho took that away from him. So those 2 matches, it depends on what kind of shape Takakeisho's in. And I don't really know. I feel like he looks good, but I don't have that feeling like I had in November. I have the feeling of do your brand of sumo.
Yes.
Keep it simple. Be patient. Don't worry about the tournament simply because he's Kadoban. If he wasn't Kadoban, I'd be like, throw it all out there. You don't want to do Ozeki Wake again.
No.
So, I think Takakeisho's out of it, and I think it's going to be... I just hope he can take the wins he needs to take, get his 8 wins, move on, focus for the next tournament. But hey, if he can surprise me, I'm all for that too, and it's possible.
Yeah, so he needs the 8 and out. But again, on the way to those 8 wins, say he takes one off of Terunofuji. That changes the landscape. Say he takes one off of Terunofuji and Takayasu.
Which is possible.
This is what's so interesting about Takakeisho. Like he's not fighting for the championship, he's fighting for his life, and that's a different energy.
That's true. I mean, he needs those wins more than these guys need the wins. Like Takayasu needs the win because he wants to win a tournament, but Takakeisho needs to keep rank. So there is that desperate energy, like you said. And
this will boil down to when he fights these people. If Takakeisho already has those 8 wins, lights out.
Yeah.
He's not gonna have death door on him. But if he's got 7 wins and he's got to get through Terunofuji to get out of Makikoshi,
he's gonna do what he's got to do.
He's gonna do what he needs to do. And I'm sorry, Terunofuji, but it's playoff time again. So there's a lot going on.
You're right.
So from Takakeisho, we will now go to Asanoyama, who is also 6-3. So again, he's mathematically in it. But where with Takakeisho, we're just not sure because he seems to be struggling with a lot of things. I am discounting Asanoyama because he's not fought Terunofuji yet, and he already has 3 losses. Now, we were mentioning this with Terunofuji before. This is his moment to pivot everything. If he can pull the upset on Terunofuji, then all of a sudden Asanoyama is back in it. Because not only has he shown that he's gotten over that mental hurdle, but he's knocked Terunofuji down a peg, which could put them in contention.
A big thing about that, though, is when he's going to actually fight Terunofuji. So, let's say he loses to... And I don't know that he will, but let's say he loses to... Oh, no. He would have to fight Terunofuji before Shodai or Takakeisho,
correct,
likely. So, we're going to find out very soon. If he loses that, then whatever. But if he wins it, like you said, now all of a sudden it's going to not only change it statistically, but it's going to give him that extra oomph. Like, wait a minute. Now I can do what I got to do. Maybe I can win this.
I'm looking up who he's fighting. I realize I have this ability. Because that is going to affect... He's fighting Takanosho tonight.
Okay.
Yesterday, tomorrow.
By the time you hear this show.
By the time you hear this show, they would have already fought. And...
That he should be able to beat Takanosho in theory, but you see how, like, he got blasted out.
And this, like you said, this is doing my Ozeki senpai a favor. This is the energy of Terutsuyoshi leg picking Asanoyama, and that's what gets Terunofuji the cup all the way back when. It's that same energy. So
it's like fighting for your brother.
Fighting for your brother. Yeah. And Takanosho is himself in contention at 6-3, which is really good for him. But like we're mentioning, he's got to fight the top, and I don't know if he can. Now, good news for him, he doesn't have to fight Takakeisho.
Very good news.
Unless there's a playoff, etc., etc. But he has to fight Asanoyama. That doesn't look likely. He has to fight Takayasu. He has to fight Shodai. He hasn't fought Terunofuji. All 4 of those matches are big yikes for Takanosho. Not to say that he can't do it, but it's like you probably would have to pick 1 or 2 of those for the upset, and then he's losing the others.
Which, that's the likely scenario. He looks like he's still a little green. He looks great, but he looks like he's still a little green. He needs a little bit more fighting under his belt. But hey, wouldn't this be the time to show off? There's always that moment in a wrestler's career, you're never going to know when it's coming till it comes, where it could have been like, oh yeah, he's alright, and then it's like, wow, he could do it. It seems very unlikely, but if he wanted to pull an upset, wow, he could destroy everything.
Yeah, this is also the interesting, and again, the fact that everybody here is going to be affecting everyone else's run. But for Takanosho, there's a road here to that spotlight. And it's been this bizarre case of him being Sekiwake, the 3rd best ranked wrestler in the world, and he's sort of getting overlooked.
Yes.
Because he keeps these 9 and 5s, or these 9 and 6s, these 10s and 5s, just barely not enough to start his own run. And so, if he starts dumping all these upper ranked people right now, that's not just wins under pressure, but wins against the highest ranked people, and then people are going to start turning heads.
Yeah, this is an exciting moment. I mean, it could be over in 2 days, but
yes,
right now, it's very exciting to see that if he just finds that inner strength and takes some names down, takes these guys out, you are talking about him now. He goes from he's pretty good to look at this guy. And meanwhile, let's say he did that and Takakeisho's doing his thing. Maybe Takakeisho wins the whole thing because of Takanosho.
It could happen. It's all on the table right now. And you're like, these are levels of likelihood, sure, but at this point it's a grab bag because it's all so just hungry people fighting for everything.
Yep, and they're tough matches and injuries play a role in it too. Oh, I'm knocking on wood though. Hopefully that does not play a role. But just the overall beatdown of taking these tough matches time after time, who's going to be the guy who endures it all?
It's very close. So we'll talk about the final 2 contenders at the same time because we sort of have similar notes on them. And those people are Tobizaru, which is just great to see him back in this conversation again.
Love him.
And Terutsuyoshi, who is like out of nowhere. and absolutely love it. So the both of them are pretty low down on the Banzuke, similar to Chiyonokuni. They're low enough so that they can build that run still, that they can probably get to 9 or 10 wins fighting what I would say comparatively equal opponents. But what will likely happen is not only are they going to be thrown to the wolves the same way that Chiyonokuni is, but they're invariably going to have to fight each other as an eliminator, and they will likely be thrown at Chiyonokuni as an eliminator.
Oh, yeah.
So all three of those people right there are just going to be thrown in the pit, and they're going to say, one of you gets to climb back out.
Yeah, it's not looking good for all three. It's
no.
Like, if anybody's getting through, it's only one of you. And then you might get slapped down right away.
Exactly.
So they're in the dog fight at the bottom right there. But Tobizaru, wow, he is a scrapper.
Oh, he is really fun to watch. He has replenished his bag of monkey tricks. Terutsuyoshi is showing some like visceral sumo. That was the kind of stuff that got him higher up, and then he had troubles. So it's good to see that back. Both of them are having this resurgence, which is like this energy upswelling. So where it's even rougher for them than it is for Chiyonokuni is that Chiyonokuni at 7 wins means that even if he loses one, he's not out of it.
Right.
But the problem is that Tobizaru and Terutsuyoshi, they'll both have to win out the rest of the tournament to be in contention, and they're going to have to fight each other. Right. They're going to have to fight whoever they throw at them. Again, I think Onosho is pretty much prime for knocking these people down a peg.
Yeah, definitely.
Somebody like one of those young hot shots who just so out of it that they're not going to really affect anything, but they can be used to knock some of these rank and filers down a peg.
Yeah, and you know that's coming soon. It's only going to take maybe 2 days for us to get a better picture. You're going to probably see, barring some crazy thing, you're probably going to see it come down to, Takayasu, Terunofuji, and one other guy. Could be Chiyonokuni. One of these other guys in the 6-win category might take his place. But either way, I think in the next 2 or 3 days, you're going to see pretty much what it's going to be. And I do think it'll go to day 15.
It definitely has that energy. Even if it is like one back, like it was in January, that Daisho came into 15 with 1 win.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
It may be that I can't see anybody running away with this, but I would love to be wrong.
Yeah. What's nice is, first of all, we like everybody, so whoever wins, it's cool. But, I'd really like to see Takayasu pull this off. I don't know. I mean, he's looking good, so maybe this is the new him, and he's going to just go back to Ozeki, and he's going to win a bunch of tournaments after this. But let's say it isn't. This is the time. You got to make your move now. Terunofuji, he just wants to win. Like, yes, he wants to be Ozeki, but that desire to win is very strong in him. So I'm not counting him out, even though I think Takayasu has to screw up or get flat out beat. I mean, that's very possible. He has to get flat out muscled by somebody, and it's like this. Sorry, it's not your time again. But
this is the big X factor for a lot of these people on this list as well. All of them have buckled.
Yep.
And for Takayasu, who was that legendary loss, that he fell down, he realized he lost it, and he just... The grimace.
Ugh.
So he hit that Terunofuji, pushed dirt on Takakeisho, loses in the playoff, looks livid. They tasted that defeat. And so on one hand, that's fuel for the fire to go back in, but it's just like you cannot bet your money on anybody on this list.
You really can't. I mean, there is a scenario in which Takayasu just starts losing. Because he's still not proven. As much as I like him, as good as he looks, he's still not proven. He was never able to win a tournament before. So either he's a brand new Takayasu, or all of a sudden he's going to start losing. And if that happens, then any one of these guys pops up, and then you have a surprise winner. And we've seen that happen many times. And
this is also where this whole list, traditionally, this list gets cut down to size every day, starting on day 10.
Yes.
They just hack some off. But somebody pulls an upset on Takayasu if Takakeisho's just had enough of him. Let's say that Asanoyama decides it's his time to put dirt on Terunofuji. Like, there's all these scenarios that are very likely that all of a sudden now we're looking at 4 losses as the baseline. And then,
right.
So then you have people who are out of the race coming back in.
Right. We're at the crucial point right now where it's far from over. This is just the likely scenarios. These are the guys who should do what they got to do. But it could change.
Could change.
Just keep an eye out for the next couple of days. This is the crucial point.
It's the point.
By day 12, day 13, you're going to have a better idea of who's really in it and who's really out. And it's amazing how quick it goes. It's just like that. So that is all I got.
Do you want to put money on the table?
All right.
Figuratively?
Figuratively.
No real money that we'll talk about. You had to guess on this list. Who gets it?
I'm gonna say Takayasu.
Okay.
John?
So I was gonna say Takayasu too, but I want us to say something different so that we can all look at each other when this is all done.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna go for the Chiyonokuni upset.
Oh, I like it.
I'm thinking that he's just gonna be this engine, and everybody else is gonna start losing.
It's very, it's a very intriguing idea.
I'm always going after that stupid bet. Like my heart's with Takayasu. Like that's it. It feels like this is his moment. But if I'm just gonna throw it into chaos, it's just like there is no successor to Hakuho. You are all weak.
That's right. None of you get to take the spot.
No one is worthy of the crown. Chiyonokuni, you get it.
This is the only way Hakuho is going to come back from this injury. Is if Chiyonokuni wins the tournament.
Right. He'll
be ripping the sheets off of his hospital bed. That is it. Rocky style, pumping the guns. I'm coming back. These guys stink.
He's going to cut his leg off and get one of those blade ones. He'll be like, that's it. Let's go.
And they'll be like, oh, Hakuho's even scarier than he was before. I like it, John.
All right. I'm going for the long horse. And win or lose in this bet, it is going to be a very exciting 6 more days of sumo. And I just cannot wait to see it unfold.
Me either. And we've got lots and lots to talk about in the recap.
Oh, goodness.
Which will go up the day... We'll record the day after the tournament ends, and you will get it the following Tuesday. And we'll talk about everyone and everything that happened and the matches that we like the most. And, of course, we'll spend a lot of time talking about whoever this mystery winner is.
Yes. And with any luck, one of us will be able to sneer at the other one.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah, right. It's going to be like... Tobizaru. We're like, okay, we lose again.
Yeah. Well, that'll be great too.
It will be great.
Yeah. We'll just be like, well, guys, looks like Asanoyama had it in him all along.
We really stink at predicting things.
Can't wait. I cannot wait. Thank you all for listening.
Yes, hope you had a good time and hope to catch you on the recap.